Hey everybody, in today's video we're going to discuss why consistency is probably the most important function in you being successful with your selling process. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about some of the mistakes people make when it comes to consistency in the way that they're selling into their markets. This is something that I think every client that I've worked with has struggled with. And for some, it's because they don't like selling, so they kind of fumble along in the beginning, kind of like, plugging your nose and eating cod liver oil when you're a kid, is they kind of stumble along doing it, but not really being into it. Or people who are selling well, right? And once clients kind of get dialed into how to sell, the challenge is they get lazy. They enjoy the spoils of their efforts and they stop doing the parts that have gotten them busy in the first place. So I wanted to share with you some of the observations on how to avoid consistency issues as it relates to your sales process. Now, if you're new here, consider subscribing. And during the video, I'm going to I give you a bunch of ideas. If you have any questions around those, put them in the comments below. So for most people, myself included, when I first started in business, they go through a feast or famine process, right? They're starving, and I always think of it as a whale going down, right? They get a big gulp of air, and then they dive down, right? They're work. And then they realize that they're running out of new work, right? Maybe they have a project that's ending and they're going to run out of money. So they come back up air for air and then dive back down once they get a project. This is a feast or famine mindset, right? I'm either doing really well or I'm starving to death. And that happens because of consistency. What I've said a million times is what gets you busy keeps you busy. And so once you realize what's working for you in regards to business development, you have to do it, if not every week, every day. If you do it every day, you will never be out of work. And for me, 21 years into this, I do business development every day, even on my busiest days, because I know that as long as I continue to fuel the fire will always burn. Let's jump into kind of some of the common mistakes that I see clients making, both when they're stumbling at the beginning or, when they're living kind of high on the hog, after they've got their sales underway. The first big mistake is that people approach sales as a sprint. I need to get there as quick as possible. And once I get there, I hold up the medal and I'm done. Sales is not a sprint. It's a marathon. If you sprint, not only you're going to burn yourself up, but you're not going to want to go to the next race. And sales requires a daily race. You have to consistently be moving along. If you're sprinting, you're doing it wrong. You need to take it day by day and move a step forward every day. If you're rushing, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to miss opportunities, and really you will burn out. And for a lot of people, it's ripping the Band-Aid off. If I just get it over with, I can be done with it. I would rather you take your time, fall in love with it, and you will fall in love with it once you dial it in, and enjoy the ride. Another mistake that people make is they think there's a magic pill, right? If I pay enough for social marketing, or if I get the right advertising, if I go to the right conference, if I dial in my YouTube video properly, it's done, right? I'm going to become an overnight success. Magic pills are so rare. I've only seen 2 or 3, and the 2 or 3 that I have where somebody hits a home run right out of the gate, they're not sustainable. Right? So they have that one hit and then they never hit again. And because they didn't take the time to learn the process of selling properly and consistently, they're starting at the beginning just like they would have prior to the one hit wonder. And so often I think that's even worse, right? Because you had a taste of success, you have no way to retract that path. If you know how to sell properly and consistently, no matter what hits you, you can always find your way back to the path. And along that, another mistake is, overthinking, will it work, will it not work, and so on. That self-doubt and that talk and that all of that stuff that messes with your head will actually get in the way of you being able to execute on the strategy. And I'll put a link to a video that I did down below, which kind of talked about making excuses, right? Why this won't work or why the timing's not right or so on. What's important for you is to make sure that you've identified niche markets you can best serve. You know how to answer the 3 questions. What do you do? Why does it matter? Who cares? And you are consistently communicating with that market and building a relationship. If you're doing those 3 things, you're going to be golden. You don't need all the other flash. Another mistake that people make, and what gets in the way of consistency, is them worrying that they're not doing things the best they could be. None of us are. right? All of us are a work in progress. And if you show me somebody that is out there hustling in the market with kind of a half-ass strategy, but consistent, I will always bet on that person compared to the person sitting in their office trying to get the perfect messaging and trying to get everything perfect. While they're doing that, the person that's active is securing all of the market share. And that final mistake, which I see, is trying to get the most juice out of the orange in the least amount of time. We all need to quit rushing. Our strategy is we want to have a relationship with the market for 30 years, which means we're going to invest a lot up front. We're going to get to know them, let them know us, and really look to be of service and to deliver more value than what they're paying. If you're doing that, it takes time. And so if you find yourself rushing or really, you get that one client and try to get every lick and nickel out of them, you're going to find that you are going to kill the golden goose and you're going to be back right where you started. So I hope that was helpful. Kind of the two things I want you to remember is what gets you busy kind of keeps you busy. And yesterday was the hardest day. If you're doing this consistently and every day you're going to get just a touch kind of smarter, stronger, easier, more proficient. And when you have enough of those days back to back, just like fitness, I guess, you're going to see results. So give yourself 90 days of consistency. I guarantee you're going to get the results. As always, thanks for watching. Remember, gladiators eat first, and they know that consistency is the secret sauce to sales success. I'll see you in the next video.